is Chase Edmonds, Arizona Cardinals running back number 29, and you're now listening to the Redbird Redzone podcast, the number one Cardinals podcast in the world. Go Cards, be red, see red. Appreciate you.
And we are live. Welcome to the Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Will. You can find me on Twitter at LiveOnThatSwing. Joining me today, I've got two lovely co-hosts with me today. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
Yo, my name is Mac. You can find me on Twitter at AZSportsFiend. That's F-I-E-N. And why don't our other co-host introduce herself?
What's up? I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at JSanDiego. That's 2 O's. Back at it again with some more heartbreak and debauchery.
And we are here to discuss the Week 13 game against the Rams. And it's beginning to look a lot like we suck. We have dropped, 3 of our last 4? Is that it?
Unfortunately.
Well, 3 in a row. 3 in a row.
Yeah. Fuck, man. We're pretty cold right now, and to Bobby and to Mac for calling me a traitor last week, let me just say I was right. I might be a traitor, but I'm right.
Well, Jackie also picked the Rams as well, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
And I also said we were going to lose by a missed Zane Gonzalez kick. Although we did lose by 7. But
we lost by 10, but he did miss one, yeah.
We lost by 10?
38-28, yeah.
Oh.
Dumb shit.
Either way, another missed kick, another missed opportunity.
And sounds like he's going to be our guy again this weekend, from what Gambo said on Twitter, that he expects Zane to be the guy. It just makes you wonder, how bad is Mike Nugent on the practice squad?
But is he going to be the guy, or is it another Josh Rosen situation where he was also going to be the guy? You got to be optimistic.
There's no way that's the case right now, though, because of COVID protocol, you have to be tested 5 days in advance before you can even suit up. So
but if Mike Nugent's on the practice squad, aren't they getting tested as well? So I guess it could happen, because he's under our contract.
Mike Nugent isn't an upgrade, though. If we
I agree.
If we pick anybody up, I want it to be fuck. I've been saying his name all week.
Matt.
No. The guy from Oakland who is on the free agency right now. Doesn't matter. You know who I mean.
The guy that we had.
The guy who was a backup to Janikowski, and then he kicked when Janikowski was out. I'm blanking on his name, but he was really solid. He's been bouncing from team to team, but he's still a pretty solid kicker.
Yeah, it makes you think, why even have Nugent on the practice squad then? Yeah, he might not be an upgrade, but I mean, you brought him in for a reason.
I think what the reason is, and this is basically what Mike Tomlin's doing. Mike Tomlin's trying out a new kicker every week, so that just in case his kicker gets out with COVID, he can sign one off the street.
I could see that.
So I get that. I get where he's coming from with that.
Yeah,
but yeah, so
it just sucks that every week, it seems like he's coming up with end of the first half, end of the game, and the one at the end of the first half would have been huge. It would have we were finally getting the ball rolling. That was the first drive that we had over 4 yards or 4 plays, and we drive down, set up for a field goal, and it's just like,
and the second that DeAndre play was called back, that fucking catch that went out of bounds, I knew he was gonna miss it. I knew it. And you can just you can't ever have that as a mentality as a fan going in, because that just shows that there's something wrong with the organization. There's something wrong with the process. I am so used to to Gonzalez missing these 40-plus yarders that I just instinctually know that anytime he goes up there at that point, it's bad luck. And there are positions in the NFL where you can go in after a bad game and you can just say, okay, I'm going to wipe that away. I'm going to do better next game. Kickers have to have.
He looked miserable after that kick too.
Yeah.
He looked miserable. He was. You can tell he's just in his own head. And when you're a kicker like that, that's the worst spot to be. I mean, being a kicker that's got to be such a stress job. Yeah, exactly. Once it gets in your head, you're kind of screwed. And I feel bad for the guy. I'm rooting for him, but you
hate yourself. The fans hate you. It just feels like
you have one job. You have one job and you're failing. I mean, he doesn't want to let his team down, And so it sucks, but there comes a point where Cliff, whoever, they need to realize we're in the middle of a playoff hunt, and you just cannot be giving away 3 points at a time every game. It's adding up, and it's a mentality killer for the whole team. You get to see how deflated Kyler looked when Sale left. Just bad vibes. We don't need that anymore. And good luck this weekend in New York. It's supposed to be raining, Giant Stadium. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
The fucking shit. Blank there for a sec. I'm trying to figure where I was going with this. Shit, one of y'all go first.
And Bo Bobbles.
Bo Bobbles. What's up, Bo Bobbles? So we might as well just get the other special teams out of the way. Andy Lee, I talked extensively about Andy Lee last week, and he actually did a pretty good job. He finished with like almost 48 yards a punt. He did have that one that was like a 32 yarder.
That he kicked straight in the fucking air.
Yeah, and somehow he still ended up 47.9 yards a kick. So he was booting them after that.
But that tells you more. That tells you how much times we had to take the punt after.
Oh, he punted 5 times, So let's say he kicked it, 50, 55 yards each time. That makes up for that 15 yards, I guess.
Let's talk about one key discrepancy that I noticed in this game that other people have been noticing too. That is how we have adjusted to how our game plans adjusted to scrutiny. The Rams, after we stopped them early on in the game, they quickly adjusted. They figured out what they were going to do, and they adjusted their game plan. Even when we were down by 17, it still felt like we were playing conservative football.
Run the football.
And we weren't able to run it either.
Yeah. No. Kyler Murray, despite, the team putting up 28 points and having 3 touchdowns through the air, only put up 170 yards, which feels crazy on the face.
Back-to-back games under 175 now.
And it makes me wonder, if we were so criticized going into the season as going to be this air raid offense, that it put pressure on us to be a run raid. But I feel like defenses have us figured out now. They know we're going to run.
And it's hard to say because we're just not even trying with Kyler. It's like
no.
The last 3 games, he's rushed 5 times each game and has accumulated a total of 61 yards. In the previous 9 games this year, he rushed for under 61 yards only twice. So, that is a huge reason. You get Kyler running the ball, and that also opens up, places in the middle for Drake and Edmonds to do work. Just seemed like nothing was going right that first half until we were forced to put the foot on the pedal a little bit. And
hurry up offense, start passing.
With under a minute to go in that first half. That was the first time. Before that, what do we have? We had 3 total yards besides the Dan Arnold touchdown. Like that is unacceptable. And that's one reason, I believe, why the defense got gassed. They were on the field for 47 plays in the first half compared to our 22.
You
can't attribute this loss to defense.
Yeah, time of possession is the story. Time of possession is the story of this game, man. Because if I remember right, I might be misremembering this. Our offense was only on the field for, I want to say 15 minutes. Is that it?
21. I think it was 21 to 38 was when I looked. I'll double check here right now, which is horrible. 17. Yeah, 21 to 38, 39 basically.
Yeah. That you can't have that happen. That's not something that should be happening in this game. And let's I'm going to frame a question here. I want y'all to answer this. How much of Kyler's struggles in the past few games, how much do you think is mental, and how much of that do you...
I'll let Jackie go.
I want to say it's 40% mental.
Yeah, there's definitely some mental stuff going on for sure, you know.
Because every time I see him on the sidelines, the dude just looks miserable. He looks like he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be there, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him for feeling that, because I don't want to watch it.
Even my sister, she was like, "What's wrong with Kyler Murray?" And I'm like, "You don't even watch football." And she goes, "I watch it enough to know that every time he does something wrong, he's got a sour ass look on his face."
Right, and it makes you wonder where the disconnect is. Does he have a disconnect with Cliff? Because it seems like he does not want to run the ball, and they're game planning to not take shots deep. So, I mean, we're playing in a freaking phone booth, and I don't really know any team in the NFL. I mean, the Rams played it to perfection. They didn't really take any deep shots, you know, but they were getting Goff out on the QB waggles outside the tackles, and they were just killing us. And it seemed like they played their game plan perfectly, while we tried something similar, keeping Kyler in the pocket and running, 5-10 yard routes, and we just were not able to execute it whatsoever. It just seemed like we were just too lackadaisical to start. And then when it was like, okay, now we have to really get going, and then we started feeding DeAndre Hopkins. For DeAndre Hopkins to get one target through the first 5 drives, when we only had 16 plays. But I mean, that just shows you need to get him involved, because once he got 3 targets on that last drive to end the first half, we were moving the ball down the field. He created that PI. And then the second half, he received, I believe, 8 targets, 9 targets, and then we were able to put up 21. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as getting your best players involved, in my opinion.
Yeah, and somebody pointed out. I was looking up, and somebody pointed out, and somebody said that fucking Hopkins wasn't getting targeted enough, and somebody pointed out that he was getting targeted enough in comparison to elite receivers, but elite receivers were getting deeper routes, and they were getting more like versatility in their plays.
I saw that, like the route
tree was awful.
Yeah.
And he was getting targets when we were already behind by 14, so we were playing catch up. So it was the first half where, I mean, he finished with 1 target those first 5 drives. But that second half, when he was finally getting targeted, we were doing work, and he was making people miss. But yeah, I don't really have the greatest explanation on why he is basically doing a route tree in a box right there on the left-hand side. But it all points back to when Kyler hurt his shoulder. You look at the route tree in that Bills game, he was doing deep posts, crossing routes, slants, but we didn't see any of that really these last 3 games. So it just makes me wonder
if he hasn't thrown outside the numbers.
Yeah.
The only instance I can think of where he threw the ball like really deep was that Dan Arnold play.
And he was wide open.
The only reason that play fell through is because there were 3 guys on Hopkins.
On D-Hop.
And if I'm Kyler Murray, that tells me something. That tells me teams are afraid that I'll throw to Hopkins. I should throw to Hopkins.
He catches over everyone.
And here's the thing about DeAndre Hopkins. Even if he doesn't look open, he's open. He has that ability to make these
Larry Fitzgerald.
Catches. Yeah, he has the ability to make these phenomenal catches, come down to these phenomenal balls, and just feels like Kyler Murray does not trust him. He's doing the same plays he should be doing with Hopkins with bum-ass receivers like Kirk.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I like Kirk. I think he's fine, but he's not that kind of guy. I don't get it.
Just seems like it was the second play of the game, and they targeted D-Hop on a curl, like a little 5-yard curl, and Kyler was late. He pats the ball, he kind of gives a hop, and then he throws it. And Hop is double teamed, but if the ball is on time right when he turns, that's a catch all day, every day. Ball was late, gets batted down, and then it just seemed from that point on, he was like, okay, well, D-Hop's going to be double teamed. And so he kind of looked elsewhere until it was like, okay, well, fuck, it's go time. Challenge Jalen Ramsey. And when they did, Hop was successful more times than not. So that should show him right there, you know. But Kingsbury has to do a better job of moving D-Hop around a little bit more. I understand he's been on the left side most of this year. And I think that might be because they wanted to get him fully integrated without a full off season. From day one, they wanted them to have that connection. So they probably only, they made it so, okay, Kyler, he's D-Hop's on the left side 90% of the time, and some comfortability. But so I'm interested to see what this offseason does. I know we're in week 12 and we should have been able to integrate a little bit more, but I think a lot of that might have to do with the lack of offseason compared to all those big time. Because you looked at the Julio Jones route tree, the Devontae Adams, and I mean those guys have been there for years with their QBs. Kyler and Hopper just in their first year. So I can see Cliff kind of dumbing everything down to simplify it ever since Kyler, especially ever since Kyler banged up his shoulder. That's just kind of what it looks like from the outside in. Now, Arizona media has asked Cliff, how has Kyler's injury impacted your play calling, your playbook? That'd be one of my first questions to ask. It's like obvious that something has gone on these last 3 weeks, and it all points back to that time when Kyler got landed on and hurt his throwing shoulder.
Yeah. And here's the question I feel like I pose. Do you guys really think that Chris Streveler, in the event of Kyler's injury, so help us God, is the guy to back us up over Hundley? Because I mean, I
haven't
haven't
seen anything yet.
Yeah,
haven't seen anything yet, but I mean, like knowing his history, I mean, he was a folk hero in the CFL, but he wasn't actually a good quarterback.
I honestly didn't watch much of his stuff in the CFL.
I don't know anything about him.
I figured he was a decent thrower, though.
No, he had a negative touchdown interception rate.
Uh-huh.
Well, and then
I want to say he had 8 touchdowns and 14 interceptions.
Jeez, I'll just say that I trust Hundley more.
Yeah.
Do we know why he's not activated?
Hundley?
Yeah.
No, it might have been. Didn't he get arrested earlier in offseason?
There were some accusations about domestic violence by his ex-wife.
That never amounted to anything really. Okay.
But he has been active for a majority of the season up until the last couple weeks.
Hundley? I thought he wasn't active. I thought he just kept.
That's what I thought. I thought he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't active for the greater part of this year.
Yeah.
But
and I do trust Hundley more. I mean, he showed it against Seattle last year. It's like.
Back to Aaron Rodgers, so
Yeah. It's kind of beyond the point now, saying, because like I heard some of the radio say, bench him now. And it's like we're at the point now where if we lose, we're pretty much fucked. So why not put our best guy out there, Kyler? If there's ever a time we were gonna bench him, it would have been against New England after his injury, just to give him that heal up another week. If there was ever a time, but I think we're past that.
If we're talking about him being demotivated and him looking like just absolutely beat on the sidelines, you want a way to demotivate your quarterback? That's how you do it.
Or he just loses complete interest. I mean, I feel like there's a fine line there that a lot of people probably don't see, because Kyler kind of does seem a little high maintenance. I don't know if that's a thing or a good thing. I'm not there, but he does seem like he needs it his way. And if Cliff were to bench him, would that just
chip on his shoulder, or would it shut him down?
Exactly. And I think Cliff might have a feeling it might shut him down, or like.
And that's why he caters to him a little bit?
Yes, exactly. Because he knows Cliff only has Kyler Murray is his golden goose. You know what I mean? He has to do everything possible to make him feel good, make him, give him everything he needs.
Because if he's successful, he gets a job. he keeps his job.
If Kyler, yes, if you bench Kyler after not even 30 games, what does that say about you as a head coach? To the whole country, that automatically puts you on a hot seat right there.
That you wanted to draft with the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
you could have had a maybe a good quarterback, but this is the guy you wanted. So the team said, you know what, this is the guy you want. This is the guy we'll get.
I think there's a fine line.
If he's fucking up, you're losing your job.
I agree, Jackie. Though there's a fine line between motivation and completely, him just tuning you out. And I think Kyle Cliff is that.
Is he coachable?
That that is a big thing right there. He's lived his whole life off of his athleticism. Yeah,
and he's always won.
Yeah, so when you don't win, it's like, where do you go inside of your mind? And nobody knows that unless you're in that locker room or Kyler Murray himself.
In pre-draft, that's what everyone was saying. Can he handle adversity? Can he go from winning his whole life to a losing situation? Can you rally your team? Can you be a leader? And right now, I feel like he is not showing that.
No,
Let's talk about the rumors that we've been hearing about Kyler Murray. This is per Gambo. I don't know how much of a read he has on the situation. This could be literally anything, given how little is actually said.
Yeah, but I heard this.
Gambo has said that Kyler Murray is not listening to Larry Fitzgerald. What do you guys think about that?
We're not there and we don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like if Fitz is in your locker room and that's your leader, it's your go-to, you got to do better and be better by him.
Yeah,
I don't see that. Maybe it's because he's not there because of COVID. And I think that's another reason why his absence is really hurting us right now is he is that leadership. Because clearly Kyler's not stepping into that role.
Oh, yeah, he's not Kyler right now is not a leader of men yet. He could still get there. But he's got to get through his own. He's got to push himself even more because he's never experienced this type of losing, But regarding Gambo, I was listening to that. So they do the cross talk with the afternoon show, or with Burns and Gambo do the cross talk with the afternoon show, Bickley and Murata. And so they had him on, and it was literally the last 30 seconds of the conversation. And most of the conversation was about Kyler, and about the team. And then 30 seconds to go, Gambo drops this nugget. That is something that you lead with. If you legitimately hear that, you're not, that's the elephant in the room right there. So that kind of questions, that makes me wonder. And I'm sure you might be hearing it from somebody, but I don't know how much stock I put into it until I hear an ex-teammate come out and criticize him. When that happens, then I feel like there's a little bit more, to it. But I mean, it all kind of points back to Kyler learning how to be a professional, and I could see him just being kind of his own guy, his own thing. But if you heard his comments about Fitz returning this weekend, did you guys hear that today at all?
No.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
He sounded excited. He called him a leader. He called Fitz a leader. He sounded like he was genuinely excited on having Fitz back. And so that
maybe he's excited because now he has somebody to rally the team for him.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Yeah, because he called him his security blanket, and that's a good point though. That's a good point where he doesn't feel like he needs to kind of, be that on-field motivator, that it could be Fitz leading through, a short first down, Fitz getting up and kind of just let's go, and kind of getting everyone. It's something as simple
maybe
as that.
Maybe he feels like it's Fitz's team and it's not his. I don't know.
That's that's
I'm
pretty
just throwing
deep,
out some speculation.
Yeah, and I mean, I can totally see that. You're the young guy coming on with the future first ballot Hall of Famer.
Maybe you don't want that pressure, or you're not ready for that role.
Right, but just
you
hearing
just want to come play football and win.
Hearing the pep in his step and his talk when talking about Fitz made me feel a lot better. So if anybody's listening or whatever, and you haven't heard it, go look for that conversation. Tonight's Wednesday. We're airing Wednesday, so it was Wednesday's Kyler Murray's interview after practice.
Yeah, let's talk about. I know I haven't been talking about much about the game, but there's really not much to talk about that hasn't shown up on the field. So let's talk about our defense, and then we'll talk about penalties throughout. First off, penalties. I never like to be the guy who like bitches about penalties and say, "Oh, the refs had it out for us," whatever. But I mean, 2 of the Rams' big touchdowns were the result of penalties that were not called. I am talking the Darrell Henderson touchdown. There were 2 holds on that play, and I am talking the pick 6 to basically end the game.
Yeah.
There was another hold on the Rams on that play.
On the DB himself, or who was that on?
I remember there being a hold. I think it was on.
Okay.
Quite remember.
Okay.
But I mean, there's got to be something going on. Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one. I don't know. I felt like we've seen a lot worse penalized games or officiated games.
Oh yeah, certainly. And I don't really like talking about penalties in that kind of light because I do think that reflects some of the blame from the team onto the officiating. But at the end of the day, those 2 penalties, or lack thereof, really cost us.
I mean, at the end of the day, also, us getting 232 total yards and the Rams nearly doubling it at 463. I think that probably did more than the penalties. But
I mean, Jared Goff has had only 10 incompletions that day. I felt like he was on fire. And here's the big thing. Here's the thing that I said it would be a turning point for us to win if we did it. Mm-hmm. He had no turnovers. He did not turn the ball over.
It didn't feel like he was pressured very much at all. I think we only sacked him once.
And part of that can come down to our injured D line, and part of that can come down to us having to fill the holes with defensive ends at D tackle and all that shit. But at the end of the day, he was not pressured. He did not.
He could do what they wanted.
Over.
Yeah,
he had more than 10 turnovers in the past 4 games coming into this game, and we didn't do shit. We did not capitalize on it, and it drives me bonkers.
He had the same amount of incompletions through his first 9 attempts. He was 4 for 9 to start the game. Then he had in the next 37 attempts or 38 attempts when he went 33 for 38. So we did good, and then they adjusted a little bit, and we just were not able to counter. They were able to execute their game plan. And you got to give a lot of it to our defense was on the field so much. They're only
containing until they couldn't contain anymore.
Yeah, until and then when we needed them most, they had nothing really in the tank anymore. They were running on fumes by the end, and it was hard to see. I mean, they attempted 47 passes, completed 37, 351 yards. 1 TD, 1 INT. So, and they weren't taking deep shots. They were manipulating our defense. They were finding the holes. That was a very impressive performance by Sean McVay's offense, considering they executed kind of what we tried to execute: short routes, get them the ball, get yards after catch. And we weren't able to do it.
Yeah. Can I give you guys the hottest of hot takes? One that nobody who listens to this program wants to hear, and that nobody who appears on this program wants to hear.
If you say fire Cliff, you know what? I'm walking out.
I'm not going that far.
Bench Kyler?
But I'm going to say something that's even more controversial that it won't make me sound like a fan. I think the best thing that can happen to the Cardinals this year is that they missed the playoffs.
You know,
I think
Yes.
I think getting a higher draft position and genuinely like figuring out what went wrong over the offseason should be the way to go. Because as it stands, I mean, we're probably going to make the playoffs unless we just absolutely crap out the rest of the season.
From the outside looking in now.
I mean, because let's be fair. I mean, PFF, even though we are currently not in the playoff hunt, we are currently 8th in the NFC, still has us making the playoffs entirely because of the hard schedule.
Beating the Giants and...
Well, the easy schedule we have for the next couple games and the hard-ass schedule the Vikings have to go through. But let's be real here. If we go into January and we have a playoff seed, we're not going in with a 5, we're not going in with a 6. We're going in with a 7. Because there's no way that every single team in front of us has a meltdown. It can't just
I'll take that though. I mean, at the end of the day, what if we make the playoffs, right? And what's the difference between 2 draft picks from us making the playoffs? Getting playoff experience is huge for especially a young quarterback and a young coach, I think. I'd rather take the playoff experience in the loss in the first round of the playoffs than sitting at home watching it. I just think that you can get some very valuable experience for a young head coach and a young quarterback that could go a long way next year, you know?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, at the end of the day,
I don't hate it.
We're going to be facing one of 2 teams if we get that 7 seed. We're going to be facing Green Bay in probably snowy weather at Lambeau in January, which that just sounds horrible. Or we're going to be facing the Saints, who have looked basically impenetrable all year.
Yeah, maybe they'll get it hurt.
Sunday, Saturday. Yeah. But I don't think my heart's ready to get our cheeks clapped wild card weekend. So I'm kind of with Will. I just don't want us to get embarrassed.
You know what? And the whole thing is I get that, but every single one of our losses this year, all 6 of them, have been 10 points or within. You know, I think we can hang with anybody. It just comes down to that. Starting off slow.
If we don't beat ourselves, I think we can hang with the best of them.
Missing field goals.
At the end of the day, we are a second half team, and the Rams are a second half defense, and they just beat us on defense. I mean, they even said so in the broadcast, something ridiculous like they haven't lost when leading at halftime since 2016. Something ridiculous like that.
Ever since Sean McVay has entered the league.
Oh yeah.
It's
I like
ridiculous.
the fight we saw. I like the
32-0.
Speaking of which, return to the fucking broadcaster jinx here. They started the broadcast. Not started. They were early on in the broadcast. They were like, the Rams have gone 6 straight games without scoring 30 points. It's like, come the fuck on.
Eat my shit.
For once, I'd like them to say the Arizona Cardinals have gone hundreds of games without putting up 50 points.
Something.
Well, we were there before this 3-game losing streak, before Kyler got hurt. Remember, we set the franchise record with 5 straight games over 30 points. And then, I mean, I feel like I'm the only one who thinks it's a coincidence that our offense has kind of gone downhill since then. And I think a lot of it, they're trying to protect Kyler's shoulder. He doesn't want to get hit. We all know he doesn't want to get hit, and Cliff knows that. And I'm sure Kyler has said that to him. So I think a lot of it still goes back to that point, and it sucks because our whole playbook seems different. We're not running the ball, effectively, and we're not taking deep shots. I believe the last 3 games, we've connected with 3 passes over 15 yards. That's not going to cut it in the NFL. I don't care if Kyler's running or not. That 3 passes over 15 yards for completions, that's a big. And it's why did we go away from what was working so well during our win streak? And it all kind of points back to when that fat fuck landed on Kyler.
Fuck him. Sure. Fuck the Seattle Seahawks.
All my homies hate Seattle
Seahawks. Fuck, man. shit. Remember the optimism we had early on in the season? Which just felt like we were on top of the world. It's just.
Remember when they thought we were gonna go 5-0 to start the season?
Oh shit, man! Don't even. Oh fuck! I hate that. I hate this so much.
I feel like that's why I hate when the media gets hyped about us. That's when we fall apart.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what.
We're basically.
Doesn't matter what team.
We're basically, if Ryan Fitzpatrick was the team.
We are the Fitzmagic.
Yeah,
basically.
Oh shit! I don't even want to talk about this game anymore. Y'all just want to get into predictions. I know it's really early, but I'm tired.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me just say that I want to come up with a segment next week. Dumbass tweets, and I'm gonna start tonight. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but I saw someone on Twitter say that, Arizona sports fans are so used to losing that they're afraid to fire Cliff because of how bad the previous coach was. So we're stuck with Cliff for forever and forever because some of these Cardinal fans don't want to, don't expect more. It's like, dude, my whole thing is year 3. We saw a jump from Wilkes to Cliff in the first year. We were more competitive, but we got blown out a lot. This year, we've won one more game, and we haven't been blown out in any. Sure, the Panthers game felt like a blowout, and the Rams game pretty much kind of felt like a blowout because we weren't really doing anything. But at the end of the day, we haven't gotten blown out in any single game, and we're
still putting up a lot of points.
Yeah, and we lost one of our best defensive players. It comes down to next year, and I saw a stat. So the last 2 teams to draft quarterbacks number 1 overall, the Browns and the Rams, their first 28 games after drafting those QBs, they went. The Browns were 12-15-1, I believe, and then the Rams were 13-15 themselves, or something like that. And Kyler with us is 11-15-1. So we're right there. In both of those teams, the Rams jumped to 13-3 that third year, and the Browns currently in Baker's third year are 9-3. You have to give him that third year, because at the end of the day, I believe Keim is tied to Cliff. Bidwell is not gonna fire Cliff or let Keim fire Cliff.
He's not gonna fire Keim.
He's
not gonna fire Cliff.
Because at the end of the day, I think Keim has done a good job at helping solidify a lot of the roster from last year. You can see a lot of the pieces of the linebacker depth is so much better. Even our DBs, outside, I feel like Patrick Peterson's still getting burned a lot. And every single defensive player who got targeted on defense gave up at least one pass against that Rams game. But I do feel like the offensive line depth has gotten a lot better in the last 2 years. And I wish that Cliff would take J.R. Sweezy out of the starting fucking lineup. What do you have, a 18 PFF grade last week? Like that. And he just, the run game hasn't been the same since he's been re-entered. Justin Murray's healthy. And it's just like he doesn't trust the young guy, and he's going with the old guy. But there comes a point in time where we have seen a increase from year 1 to year 2, and you got to let year 3 play out. And if we don't better even next year, then that's when we have those tough conversations. But don't be acting
that's when you put him in the hot seat.
Yeah, don't be like, oh, we're 6-6 in the second year. I expect so much more from the team that drafted number 1 overall. Like, where do you get this evidence from? Look at the teams in his previously who had the number 1 pick that spent it on a quarterback. It takes 3 years. 3 fucking years. So you got these crybabies, on fucking Twitter, fuck, fire Cliff, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. When in reality, we're not in that locker room. We don't know if Kyler really is still sore on his shoulder, and he's just really.
They weren't saying that when we were winning. But
they weren't giving.
Kyler got hurt. We're on a
and it's the same guys.
Streak.
Yep.
We're playing hyper conservative. They weren't saying that when we were the number 1 offense.
3 weeks ago.
So maybe he is protecting Kyler.
They weren't saying that when we broke the franchise record of over 30 points a game. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's like these fucking fans here. It's like you got to give some fucking time to develop. Look at Josh Allen. You know, if a team would have just gave up on Josh Allen after year one, I mean, the dude's completing 70% of his passes right now, and the first 2 years he was under 60. It's like that year 3 is fucking huge. So I just, hope a lot of people can take a deep breath. And I know we all want us to win and stuff, but, this loss hurt. These last 3 losses hurt. But we have the Giants, riding a 4-game winning streak that we're going to be playing. And we need this win. And I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. So people just need to chill a little bit and just have some perspective.
Can I put in my 2 cents?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, this sounds entirely antithetical to what I said in the podcast to open the season, because I mean I'm always really hyped then, because it's like Christmas Day, because you're like opening up all the gifts and it's like, ooh, what's this? A new wide receiver. Oh, we got a Isaiah Simmons. I've wanted that for ages. I love it. And it gets very easy to get wrapped up in your own hype. But at the end of the day, this team is performing about how I would have expected them to at the end of the season. Because let's be real, our defense, for how they've been performing, they're performing about what I would have expected, because there's only like 2 or 3 people on this defense I would really say are above average, or, who are franchise players. We are performing better than I think anybody could have expected us to. I mean, shit, we're basically tied with what Vegas had us in win totals going into the season. We have the 6 wins. We have, just because we're on a downturn doesn't mean that we have to go full Darksider and say fire everyone. It is very easy to get to that spot, but we gotta remember that we're doing better than we thought we were.
Yeah.
And I understand 100% where people are coming. I get why people are angry, but we gotta just have some perspective.
Amen.
I feel like him as a coach is very important, is detrimental to Kyler's development. And I feel like if we fire him now, or even after the season's over, and you start again with somebody else,
who's to say?
You don't know the dynamic that they're going to have. Especially if Kyler is like what the speculation is, like he's very uncoachable and Cliff's just very like gives in and caters to him. You can get a guy like Bruce Arians that comes in and tears his ass apart and says you're not shit until you prove something, and then he can shut down, and then you can potentially be starting over again with another quarterback.
There's a fine line. Yeah, there's definitely a fine line. But if we don't see it next year, then we should definitely have some more conversation.
Here's the thing that I don't really get about the coach. Like going into the draft, people have this tendency to criticize these, well, let's be frank here. They have the tendency to criticize these black quarterbacks as uncoachable and as, dumbasses, whatever. Wouldn't we have heard that in the scouting report going into the draft last year?
I think we did.
Did we?
I think we. I know Charlie Casserly isn't the greatest fucking person.
Terrible. He's wrong all the time.
But that was one thing about his media
leadership and adversity.
Yeah, that was one thing about his questions on the podium. There were questions about just like his engagement, and there were, Jackie was right. I do remember because they were talking about it on the radio today as well. How
uncoachable is a loaded term, and I don't think I've ever heard that tossed around about Kyler.
I don't think uncoachable was the term, but just leadership. And we kind of seen the leadership when you're sulking on the bench, like we've all seen it. We all talked about it tonight, even.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's uncoachable, because that definitely is a loaded. Yeah, we don't know.
But he cracks under pressure.
I mean, 3 game-winning drives. It's.
Can he handle adversity? Is basically what the question is.
When things go bad, when things go bad, is he able to rally grown-ass men? I think is probably the more apropos way to say it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything's on the table, and like, who knows, like, what he is saying to Cliff behind closed doors as well. If he's telling him
or what their relationship is,
if
his
he's telling Cliff,
relationship is with Hop, what his relationship with Fitzgerald, because even people are starting to question DeAndre Hopkins and if he's happy here.
Because you seen him kind of, I kind of missed it, but what happened with him on the sideline? Was he just him and Kyler talking? Did you guys see that?
I don't know, but it has been said that they've both gotten on each other, that Kyler's gotten on him. And I don't know if you guys remember in the New England game, there was I think it was right before halftime, Kyler called a huddle and he wasn't even engaged in the huddle. And then at one point he stepped away and was just lined up ready while they were still in huddle. And my husband's like, why is he not engaged? Like, what is his deal?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And honestly, that besides him getting hurt, that's almost kind of worst case scenario. Maybe, I mean, because you're right, we aren't there. We don't know. Arizona media isn't asking these questions, after games to Cliff or even on his Monday press conference. They're not asking them, what is Kyler telling you specifically that has changed the game plan, if anything? Has his injury impacted the game plan at all? Because that's one thing I want to. Because if you kind of word the question as in how has your game plan changed since his injury, he can kind of, I feel like, not feel trapped in answering that question more so than like, is your game plan changed since that injury? It's kind of like how and in what way? Because we're seeing D-Hop lined over just on the left doing short routes. So there's something going on.
So I'm going to ask one more question before we get into predictions, unless you have anything else to say about that topic.
No,
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's try not to go too in depth here. What do you guys think? I know this is to ask. What do you guys think is our biggest need going? Just given
Biggest
what you've seen this season.
A Cardinal win Sunday.
No, into the draft. Into the draft.
The draft. I mean, I would like. I'd like another wide receiver.
Yeah, it'd be
nice. Or a cornerback.
Nice draft one.
With Patrick Peterson more than likely leaving, we do need an outside cornerback, probably more than anything.
Yeah. The name I've seen
I'll probably go there.
The name I've seen attached to us more than any other cornerback in the draft is Asante Samuel's kid. Asante Samuel.
Oh my God, I love him. I'd fucking love him. He's a playmaker.
So
from
Florida State, a corner for sure.
Yeah,
from Florida State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've draft, you can never go wrong. I wouldn't draft an offensive lineman in the first round, but
yeah,
right,
I mean, there's definitely spots we could definitely improve. But we did need a number 2 receiver.
Yeah,
I think we find that in the free agency. I think Allen Robinson, if we can back up the Brinks for him, that'd be good.
But yes, I feel like we could find that in free agency over the draft.
Do you want to spend that money on a wide receiver, or would you rather
Allen Robinson? Absolutely.
Okay.
He's not happy in Chicago. I mean, if let's be frank here. Christian Kirk is not going to cut it as a number 2, so we need a genuine number 2 receiver. And I think Allen Robinson has kind of been put in the wrong spot here for that. I think he is more of a number 2 than a number 1.
Yeah, I can see that.
He'd probably not want to hear that. But anyway, so
yeah.
Let's get into the slate. What do y'all think? Should we get in the slate of games? All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Rams-Pats rematch of that dreaded Super Bowl matchup a couple years ago. What do y'all think?
Pat.
Ooh, I like the way
Belichick's gonna Belichick, and I feel like Belichick lives rent-free in Sean McVay's head.
Hey, and they are rolling right there. Like the way they shut down Herbert, we shouldn't feel too bad about what happened when we went out there, because that was an ass whooping they put on the fucking Chargers. What was that, 45-0 or something?
Wait, Mac, do you got that notepad ready?
Yeah, I'm just grabbing it right now.
Yeah, and let's give young quarterbacks problems, and he did.
Will you let me know what Bo Bobble says, so we can just add him on there? So who won this week? Jackie, you won?
I guess.
Did we and Bo Bobble tie, or?
No, he picked the ball. Bo Bobbles won because he picked. You tied. What was the points? Did we record points? I don't think we did. I don't think I wrote down points.
Jackie had the Cardinals losing, so I mean, she wins by that.
That was the tiebreaker. That was a tiebreaker. So you're right. So Jackie, is that your first win or second?
First dub, even though I changed my mind twice on the two upsets of the week.
So since you've been on, that we've been checking, I've won one. Will, did I win two? I think I might have won two. First week and then last week.
So where's my check? Do I get a check?
Yeah. Check yourself. That's what you're checking. Yep.
But Bobbles has won one. Jackie has won one. I don't think I've won one.
I have not yet. This is your week.
Maybe. I have condensed the schedule down a little bit to avoid like clutter in those shitty, 4-8 games or whatever. So
we do. We just don't have to talk about it. So, Will, who do you have
for that game? Yeah. You know what? I know that if I pick the Pats, it's going to be the Rams. I'm going to pick the Rams.
Smart guy.
Just so I can avoid the jinx.
Who'd Bo Bobbles pick?
I don't even know why. He has the Rams. Traitor.
Okay.
Traitor.
Imagine picking the Rams in any situation. Couldn't be me.
All right. So what we got next?
This is technically a game with playoff implications. I only put it here because it has a playoff team in it. Jags Titans. Do I even need to say it?
Probably not.
Titans.
I mean, yeah.
Can we just put it in all across the board? Is that cool?
Yeah. They're coming for that number one spot. They're coming for the number one draft. They're going to get Trevor Lawrence.
And they're going to ruin him like they do every single
time. They're going to ruin him.
Not the way the
Jets. Minshew is going to be a thing of the past.
The Jets absolutely tanked that fucking last possession to the Raiders. They had that win. And it got fired.
That engage 8 bullshit's the same kind of shit that Greg Williams loves to do because he's a dirty son of a bitch bastard who deserves no love.
That play
Greg Williams, me and my homies hate Greg Williams.
Greg Williams will go to hell, and he will be in a room with Saddam Hussein
and Sean Payton because fuck him too.
Kurt Warner. Yeah. No, he's not gonna be in hell. But he hurt Kurt Warner. The bounty game. Kurt will send him to hell.
Kurt Warner is rubbing shoulders with St. But yeah, so Jags, Titans, we all have Titans.
Yeah, we got that. Okay.
This is actually a really good game. I have after that. Dolphins, Chiefs. This is a good one. What do y'all think?
The Dolphins defense is legit, but I gotta go KC.
I think the Dolphins are gonna pull off the upset.
I like it.
KC has just been devastating this year. I've got to get KC. They're so cool.
I hope Miami.
I love them.
I do love Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like Brian Flores with the defense is gonna bring something. I think they're gonna bring it, especially now that they're making a playoff push.
Yeah. So after that, we got and he also put.
I'll be the contrarian.
But after that, this is a big one for us because if we win our game, whoever loses this game is the team we jump over. Vikings, Bucks. Who do y'all have?
Bucks. I'm not just saying that for our benefit. I
Yeah,
I feel like the Vikings are frauds.
If it's not on prime time, then Bruce Arians will win.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings damn near lost to the Jags last week. Side note, Jags made a really puzzling decision that I still don't get. They had their kicker go out and kick like a 60-yarder to try to win the game. And they were talking on the broadcast like, he didn't make anything above 55 in warm-ups. I don't know why they're sending him out there. And I don't get why you don't just go full-on Hail Mary at that point. I don't get that. But, yeah,
Was
anyway.
he short?
Yeah, he was short.
On Trevor Lawrence.
Just off the mark. But, yeah, I mean, I think the Bucs win that one because the Vikings just won a game in overtime against a team that's 1-10 right now. So, but yeah, so we're all in agreement that Bucs win.
Yep.
Don't like those odds. Okay. After that, we got Ravens. We got Raiders Colts.
That's a good game. That's a tough one.
That's a good game, but I don't. But this goes back to what I was saying about the Vikings. I mean, the Raiders. The Raiders were down to the Jets with 13 seconds to go.
I know.
And they got bailed out by Greg Williams' shitty play calling. I don't trust them to beat the Colts here. I think it's going to be the Colts. What do y'all think?
Colts. They're my dark horse AFC team.
Yeah.
I'm going Raiders because Darren Waller's a beast and he's been carrying my fantasy team, so I'm going Raiders.
After that, we got one of your favorite teams, Jackie. We got Seahawks Jets. Sexy.
Oh.
What do y'all think?
Jackie, a Seahawks fan?
Sheesh.
She's a Jets fan.
Let's go Jets.
Yes, she is. So, okay.
We gotta win one. The Jets gotta win one.
She is fully committed. Okay.
I am gonna ride that train to the fucking end.
If the Jets beat the Seahawks, I am good with the Cardinals. Fucking, that'll just make my fucking Sunday. But I gotta go with Seattle. I think this is a get right game.
Seattle. After that, we got.
Who did Bo Bobbles get? What are you doing, Bo Bobbles? Seattle, of course.
He picked Seattle. He has the nerve to call me a traitor. After that, we got Eagles Saints. Again, do we got to say it?
Saints for Sue?
Eagles.
Saints.
No. Yeah.
But I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to make
Hurts be a little bit better.
Solid debut and lose by maybe like a touchdown.
He showed some flashes, I thought, that last week.
He looked okay.
He had a pretty nice fucking TD. I was pretty impressed.
He'll probably give us a really good fucking game because it's
no doubt. No doubt. We already know that. So New Orleans.
So we all have the Saints. That's cool. Let's move on.
Bo Bobbles, come on, guy.
We know he's gonna pick Saints. Come on, let's go.
Then he likes Hurts though, but he said Saints.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. My bad.
He said Saints.
My fault.
All right. After that, we got the Niners versus the racial slurs. Who do y'all have?
Racial slurs.
I gotta give props to the fucking racial slurs. We were talking about before we went on air that they're the only team in the NFC East that has a plus minus in the positives. They're tough. They're like we talked about when we played them.
And
they're a good coach team.
And if we want to talk about the biggest thing to give you momentum going into a week, how about beating the only remaining undefeated team in the league? I've got to say, I did not have them beating them. I don't think anybody did.
Except I said Jackie, that jokingly. And then I thought changing it is gonna make them win. But Alex Smith, comeback player of the year.
Oh yeah.
And if he doesn't win comeback player of the year, I'm gonna riot.
I saw someone who had a quarterback list that had Alex Smith dead last in the NFL, and I had a laugh.
That is bullshit. That is.
Oh yeah.
Sam Darnold.
He had every single fucking. Yes, that's who I commented. I was like, or who I was saying about commenting. I was like, how are you gonna put Trubisky ahead of fucking Alex Smith? Come on, man.
Sam Darnold.
So.
Fuck out of here.
Who is it? Washington versus who?
San Fran.
And is Garoppolo
Alex
coming back?
Smith.
Do we know that?
I haven't heard anything. I think it's Nick Mullins again.
Hey, and he's solid. I mean, he's a decent fucking
solid.
backup. Yeah, he's just as good as Garoppolo. I think. I don't know. I don't think. And they showed that
gonna
stat.
be gone next year. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
he's getting paid way too much. So who we all going here? Bobble says Washington.
Washington.
Will going Washington. Who you got, Jackie?
Washington. I might be moving there next year, so
Sweet.
I gotta get used to liking the racial slurs.
State. I'm kidding.
No, I mean Washington State, Washington D.C.
I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Also, making fun of myself for not knowing that New England was further away than New York. I'm going San Fran.
This is probably only funny to me, but the Niners quarterback right now, Nick Mullins, shares a close enough name to a pretty controversial podcast host. So most of his mentions on Twitter are just people who are confusing him for that podcast host. I think there are more people because I mean it's like this like controversial like left wing podcast host.
And they probably have more. They probably have more followers than Nick Mullins too.
Well, I mean, he jumped off Twitter, I think. So I think that's what
after that.
Said, fuck this shit, I'm out.
I'm going to San Fran. Call me the traitor. I don't give a fuck. I like bragging rights.
But yeah. So,
go Washington though. I hope they win.
Let's hope so. After that, this is a good one. Bills Steelers.
Bills.
I'm going Bills. Ooh, Jinx, you owe me a soda.
I've had a beer instead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah. What am I, 12?
What are you drinking tonight?
Budweiser, tall can. I just cracked my last one. Coors Original.
The Golden Colorado Banquet.
Ooh.
Comes in like a yellow can. I'm fucking fancy.
Your husband is a lucky man. No, I'm kidding.
When in doubt, pinky out.
But Bills Steelers. What do y'all think?
I think I got
Bills.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the Steelers come back after that game, and I think they try to prove themselves.
Yeah,
I think that they have.
That's a good game. That's a hell of a game. That could be the AFC Championship game.
I could see that.
No, sorry, I forgot KC was there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The road to the Super Bowl for the Steelers is through Kansas City.
Yeah. For anybody.
Anybody, but I think the Bills are going to pull it off. That they're kind of on a.
I did too, man. Like I said, I'm a Josh Allen. I got made fun of pre-draft for putting Josh Allen as my third quarterback behind Lamar and Josh Rosen. I had Rosen 1, Lamar 2, Allen 3. I had like Darnold not even on the fucking list. But I comped Josh Allen to Brett Favre. And I had like all these fucking people just like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. And like this year, I mean, the way he's grown, he could run the ball, he could scramble, he could throw on the run. I mean, upside's kind of, everything right in front of him. And you hear the kid talk, and he sounds like he's got his head on straight, and he just wants to be as good as he could possibly be. So I'm rooting for him. So I got Bills, and we all got Bills across the board, except for Will. You have Pitt.
Yeah.
Yep.
After that, this is I think this is the Monday night. Browns Ravens. Browns are hot right now.
The Browns are hot, and the Ravens, well, they threw 17 times yesterday. And 8 of those were to Marquise Brown. And so I swooped up Marquise Brown, thinking about whether I should start him in PPR or not. I don't know about it's him or I dropped him for Christian Kirk. I started Christian Kirk the last 4 weeks because he was available after like that 2 TD game, and he was like on fire. I'm like, holy shit, he's available. I picked him up, started him every week. I gave him every fucking chance possible, and he didn't do shit. So since I dropped him, you're welcome. Christian Kirk is going off this weekend.
And since we're talking about the Ravens in fantasy, I going into the game on I had this weekend. At the end of this week, I had one piece left, and that was Ravens defense. I was down by 4.2 points. 4.02 points, and I needed the Ravens to score 5, and they scored 4 for me. I lost by 0.02 of a point. Oh shit!
Fantasy football. Sometimes it's more maddening than fucking watching the Cardinals. I'll tell you.
Oh shit! It was terrible. Fuck Russell and fuck Henry for not doing jack shit for me. But fuck the Ravens defense too. So yeah, Browns all the way. They fucking slaughtered the Titans for most of that game.
Brown and a very surprising ass whooping into the Titans.
Are you pooping or peeing, Jackie?
Peeing.
Mac, you asshole.
Hey, all I was gonna piss, but my shit's loud as fuck, so I'm trying to hold it. But then again, I give you a pass. I walked out in the living room listening. My brother had Office on yet last week, so he gave me shit for that. He's like, "Hey, in the living room when you're doing a podcast, try to act professional." I'm like, "Oh fuck, sorry." Why you having
I'd still be pooping if that was the case. But no, my shit's loud.
Jackie's like, "Oh, Browns!"
Taking the Super Bowl. First ever fucking Super Bowl win.
Oh God! So we all picked Cleveland.
Yep.
Wow. Who are they playing again?
Baltimore. The
okay.
Ravens. Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, which leads us to. Y'all ready for this?
Oh.
Your Arizona Cardinals versus the Broadway, the gentrifying, the Subway. I can't think of another New York thing. New York Football Giants. Who do y'all have?
The Rutherford, New Jersey.
Side note: I looked up the distance from both Seattle to East Rutherford and Arizona to East Rutherford. So now my phone thinks I want to travel to East Rutherford, which I think is very funny.
Where were you at? You're in Carolina?
I am in Phoenix, Arizona. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I was going to say, you almost got me there.
I've never been to North Carolina.
North Carolina. Standing razor.
Never heard
take
of
your
it.
shirt off. Twist it around your head like a helicopter.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of her. I'm going Cardinals. Fuck it. I haven't picked against the Cardinals this year in this fucking pick 'em. So all you bums besides me and Bo Bobbles picked Cardinals last week. So
Jackie, who do you have?
Cards.
I have the Cardinals 35-28.
Oh yeah, we got to write down these. So 35-28, Jackie. Damn, I like it. Okay, a little high scoring. Okay. Bobbles, what's your score?
It's gonna be the game where we put our balls on the table, we blow them out. Well, not blow them out, but
we played them there last year too.
A really solid game. Side note: last year actually traveled Jersey during that game. So by the time I got into town, I saw their buses leaving MetLife Stadium.
Oh snap!
Jackie, I was really hoping you'd make this easier for me.
Sorry. Did I say what?
I'm going
the score
27.
No,
27-17. I'm going. Bo Bobbles is 38-24. Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't do this. I can't say the Cardinals this week.
Wow, he's going Giants.
I think that given the conditions for this game, given the fact that it's going to be 50 and raining, and the fact that we haven't been able to get our run game going so hot over the last couple weeks, I mean, it's just
Giants have been playing good ball.
They've been playing astounding defense. They're going in with a 4-game winning streak. They're looking great right now. We are on a massive
winning streaks are meant to be broken, Will.
We are on a massive downturn, and I'm sorry. This just does not feel like the week.
this is a get right game for us, but the Giants are fighting for their lives too. I mean,
I think
they're
it's
one game behind us. I would never thought they'd be 5-7 or whatever, and we're going to be 6-6 heading into this matchup. But here we are. They're playing. I want Daniel Jones to be playing though. I want us to hit that motherfucker and Kyler to prove. I mean, the people questioning was it even over the offseason that Daniel Jones is a better quarterback. So I want him healthy. I want him out there. Instead of what was it, Case Keenum or no, not Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's fucking beat their ass.
I'm just looking at how this is going to go down. I'm
just
not
score.
17-14.
If we put up 14, Twitter might burn down.
Mass homicide can happen.
The Giants have the second worst offense in the league, but I'll be damned if their defense ain't. Side note:
Wayne Gallman's been good for them too.
If y'all, Bo Bobbles, if you really want to add fuel to that trader fire, I picked up the Giants defense from fantasy.
Oh boy, I gotta go later.
All right, bye, Will.
I will. No. Will, you have to go, Will. We'll finish this podcast without you.
You are the weakest link. Get out of here.
You are fired.
Fired.
Oh shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling it.
I hope you jinx the shit out of us.
We
not only do you, I hope you jinx us, I hope we beat the shit out of the Giants.
What is let's do Will, we haven't done your predictions, your hot take for the game itself. Remember early in the year you're like Dan Arnold's gonna pop off, and I feel like ever since we stopped doing that we haven't been winning. So what do you got? Give me a hot take of yours that's gonna happen in favor of the Cardinals, not something fucking
Kyler Murray gets his first rushing touchdown in ages.
Okay.
I'm
that'd be nice.
A step above and say defense gets its first what is it, first touchdown?
It feels like it's been forever, right? Since we had a defensive touchdown.
Something like that. I feel like
I'm gonna say
touchdown.
Okay, so Jackie says defense touchdown. I'm saying Fitz touchdown. Will saying Kyler running.
Kyler rushing touchdown, yeah. Y'all there?
Yeah. We're not paying any yet. I promise.
Hearing hell ambulances nearby. It's tripping me out.
It's not me. I live downtown too.
Rip.
What happened to Mac? Oh, that's where the ambulances.
No, that's.
Or he's taking a shit. Oh, that's on your end.
Yeah.
Then he's taking a shit.
Shit.
He's probably pissed at you.
Probably. But I mean, he seemed pretty composed for a second.
Yeah.
Shit.
R.I.P. Mac. Oh, what do we got? There we go.
He's back. There we go. What happened, man?
I have no idea. I was just...
Return of the Mac.
$19 headphones. I don't know.
Mac, is there any stats you have for this week that I neglected to mention? You're the stat.
About the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Let me check my bookmark tweets real quick for you. I think we went over most of all the stuff, but so Kyler, since his AC injury, 61 total yards on the ground. So the last 4 games, Kyler's been sacked 10 times. He was sacked a total of 10 times over the first 8 games of the season. And that kind of lines up when J.R. Sweezy took over. So, and I mean, J.R. Sweezy had an 18 Pro Football Focus grade last week in pass blocking. So that kind of goes hand in hand. And then we talked about Kyler through the first 28 games. Other than that, I think most of it is has been covered that we went over today.
So everybody pray J.R. Sweezy comes down with a really bad case of diarrhea, misses the game.
Let us pray that I am wrong or exaggerating.
Yeah, and I will say this is. I have a buddy who after the game called me, and his first words are, "Zane better not be fucking the kicker tomorrow. Be the fucking kicker tomorrow." And then we had like a good conversation going back and forth. And he's like, I think Cliff should get that another year, but I think an option should be having Sean Kugler being called up and promoted as a head coach. And I had to remind him because the only way I know Sean Kugler is before he became the Cardinals offensive line coach is he used to be the UTEP Texas El Paso head coach. And my mom's from El Paso, so I always kind of keep an eye on him because my uncle's out there and whatnot. I had to remind Kugler's last season head coach in college. UTEP went defeated 0-13, and he resigned halfway through. So if there's a lot of ways to go about who is better than Cliff, who deserves another chance, but at the end of the day, it comes down to a third year giving Cliff. I mean, there's no easy option. There's nobody sitting out there right now, that is going to come in and definitely be that guy when we have taken steps the first 2 years. So it is. I wish we didn't have to go through this little losing streak, but people just need to relax a little bit. And this is year 2. We're 28 games in. We read off the Brown stat earlier, the Ram stat earlier, and that it's that year 3. If that year 3 we don't make that jump, then I'm all for it. But until then, it's like, what do you guys want? You want greatness right away. I get it, but it's not all Cliff
without
too.
Key pieces in our personnel as far as players.
Yeah, the fucking ton of injuries too, and
it's
and we didn't have a full off season this last year. That's what a lot of people, I don't think
tend to forget.
The second year of Kyler and Cliff, you don't have that full off season. That is going to impact some stuff because we have beaten earlier in the year most of the teams that we should beat, like Lions. They're only 1 game behind us now. We lost to them, sure, but I feel like we have taken that step, and we all kind of would have taken 6-6 at this point, with a chance to head into New York and get back into the playoffs. So some people just need to breathe. So some people just need to breathe, and let's play this thing out.
And if not, Twitter GMs, please enlighten me on who you would pick to be our next.
They don't. That tweet that dumbass tweet I read off earlier, that somebody asked him, well, who would you have? His response is, well, I don't really watch college football, so I don't really know. And he named off like Greg Roman and someone else. And it's like, dude, you're picking at straws. Yeah, Lincoln Riley is no better than Cliff. He has an Oklahoma job. But he's just basically the same thing. You bring him in here, or anyone else in here, and I say, you take a step back. It's a whole new culture and everything. But then those same motherfuckers are going to be wanting us to fire everyone else again. And it's just, you have to ride it out. We're here for the long haul, and it's not going to be forever. After year 3, if there hasn't been another bump, then there should be some definite personnel changes within the coaching staff and possibly GM.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry for making this a real bummer of an episode, guys.
No,
I'm really hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm really hoping we can this week with a dub. But you guys want to call it here?
Yeah, let's do it. That was a good episode.
All right. This has been the Redbird Redzone. My name is Will. You can find me on Twitter at LiveOnThatSwing.
I'm Mac. You can find me at AZ Sports Fiend. That's with a FIEN.
I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at JSanDiego. That is 2 O's. Or if you want to follow me on Reddit, it's DilfHunter666.
Oh, thanks. Wow.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
But yeah, this has been the Redbird Red Zone, and we are out.
Peace.
We're out.
Peace.